Juan de Plasencia, Customs of the Tagalogs. Welcome to today's lecture, where we delve into the fascinating customs of the Tagalog people, as documented by the Spanish friar Juan de Plasencia in the 16th century.
Background of the author. Juan de Plasencia was born in early 16th century as Juan Portocarrero in Plasencia, in the region of Extremadura, Spain. He was one of the 7 children of Pedro Portocarrero, a captain of Spanish schooner. He was a Spanish friar of Franciscan order. He was among the first group of Franciscan missionaries who arrived in the island on July 2, 1578. He spent most of his missionary life in the Philippines, where he founded numerous towns in Luzon and authored several religious and linguistic books, most notably the Doctrina Christiana, or Christian Doctrine, the first book ever printed in the Philippines. As soon as he arrived, he joined with another missionary, Fray Diego de Oropesa, and they both started preaching around Laguna de Bay, Tayabas, in Quezon Province, where he founded several towns. Juan de Plasencia passed away in Liliw, Laguna in the year 1590.
Literary works: Arte de Lengua, Art of Language, Vocabulario, Collection de Frases Tagala, Collection of Tagalog Phrases, Catecismo de la Doctrina Cristiana, 1581, Diccionario Tagalog, 1580, La Santina, 1585, Prayer and Meditation, Custom of the Tagalog, 1580, Doctrina Cristiana, Customs of the Tagalogs, Relación de las Costumbres de los Tagalos, was written in year 1589 during the Spanish colonial period. After receiving the lordship's letter, Plasencia wished to reply immediately, but he postponed his answer in order that he might first thoroughly inform himself in regard to people's request. Therefore, he collected Indians from different districts, old men, and those most of the capacity, and from them he obtained the simple truth after weeding out much foolishness in regard to their government, administration of justice, inheritance, slaves, and journeys.
Socio-political customs. Dato. According to the account of Juan de la Plasencia, our ancestors had chief whom they called Dato, who were the one who led the barangay. Barangay is a tribal gathering ruled by chiefs. It is called a barangay because they associate themselves with the Malay, who are the one of the first people to arrive in the Philippines through a boat which they call balangay. It consists of around 30 to 100 families that consist of parents and children, relations, and slaves. The three castes. He classified the social classes of the barangay into 3 groups, namely nobles, consumers, and slaves. Maharlika or nobles. They are freeborn, do not pay taxes, and a warrior of barangay. They are also required to accompany the dato in type of war. He or she can keep their status for a lifetime. However, it can be taken if he or she married a slave. When a Maharlika gets married to a slave, the odd birth order, first, third, and fifth children will belong to the class of their father, while the even birth order, third, fourth, and sixth children would be like their mother. An only child will be half free and half slave. Aliping namamahay or consumer live in their own house and have freedom. Children belonging to this caste inherit the status of their parents. They cannot be treated as a slave or can be sold off. Aliping agigilir or slave are those who serve their master and can be sold off. The master can reward his or her slaves by giving them a portion of their harvest so that the slaves would be faithful. A people can become a slave by captivity of war, reason of death, inheritance, by purchase, by committing a crime.
Mode of dressing. Females wore abaro or camisa for the upper part, saya for the lower part.
Males. For their headgear, they wore a potong which symbolizes the number of people they had killed. A jacket with short sleeves called kagan, mahag for the lower part. Property. The land area is divided among the whole barangay, especially the irrigated portions. No one from a different barangay could cultivate land unless they inherited or bought the land. Lands on the tingwes or mountain ridges are not divided but owned by the barangay as whole. At the time of rice harvest, any individual, regardless of their barangay, who starts to clear any land area may sow in it. Fisheries of chips had established limits and sections of the rivers for markets. Unless you were a member of the chief barangay, you had to pay for the privilege of fishing or selling in the chief's fisheries.
Marriage custom. There are four types of marriage custom. 1. In the case of a divorce, if the wife leaves her husband for the sake of marrying another man, all her belongings plus a certain amount would be given to her former husband. However, if she chooses to leave and does not have any plans to marry, then all of her dowry will be returned to her. And the second one, in the case of an adoption, the children would receive double the value of how much they were bought to be adopted. Third one, investigations and sentence for the accused shall be presented and read in front of the tribe. And last but not the least, dowries are given by men to the women's parents before marriage. If the parents are both alive, they both enjoy the use of it.
Worship and belief. Religion. Back then, there were no templates or churches. However, ceremonies and worships were celebrated in the house of the Datu, which they call simbahan. During a festival of fandot or worship, the whole barangay or family units and joins in the worship, which they call nagaanitos. Ancient Filipinos believed in animism. All objects have a spirit inhabited or governed by certain gods. One of the many idols that they worship is Bathala, which signifies all-power or maker of all things. They also worship the sun, moon, and the stars. Constellations, which they name Balatik and Mapulon. Janman Satala, patron of lovers and generation. Lakapati and Indian Nil, patron of the lands and husbandry. Buaya, which they fear from. Superstition. Our ancestors are also firm believers of auguries. This can be translated into two, good omen and bad omen. They believe in magical powers of amulets and charms, such as anting-anting, kulam, and gayuma or love potion. In terms of offering sacrifices, it is done through festivals where they offer to the devil what they had to eat. This was done in the front of an idol which they anoint with fragrance, perfumes, and sang Putik song, led by the priest of Katotolan. They offer sacrifices for several reasons: recovery of a sick persons, prosperous voyage of those embarking on the sea, good harvest, propitious results in wars, successful delivery in childbirth, happy outcome in married life.
12 Priests of the Devil. In the religious customs of our natives, they distinguish 12 kinds of devil priests. Katolonan, priest from a people of rank, officiates the offering sacrifice for a feast and the food to be eaten being offered to the devil. Mangangaway, they pretended to heal the sick in order to deceive others. Manisalat, they cast remedies on couples for them to abandon one another. Mankokolam, can emit fire from himself, which cannot be extinguished. Hokloban can kill anyone without the use of any medicine. They can also heal those who are ill. Silagan, they would tear out and eat the liver of those they saw were wearing white. Magtatangal, they would go out at night without their heads and put them back into their bodies before sunrise. Oswang, tribesmen reported that they saw the Oswang who can fly and murdered a man and ate his flesh. Manggagayoma, they would seduce their partners with charms and other accessories so that they can deceive them. Sonat, this devil helps people to die. They can also know if the soul they help to die can either be saved or not. Pangatahojan can predict the future. Bayogwin are men who are in the nature of a woman. Burying the dead. In burying the dead, the corpse would be placed beside its house and be mourned for 4 days. It will then be laid on a boat which serves as a coffin and is guarded by a slave. The grief of the relatives of the deceased is followed by eating and drinking.